What the fuck is going on? Look at this. I got a brand new ring, y'all. It's a 6 rate star. Oh shit, middle pillar style. No, sorry. Lesser banishing of the ritual of the pentagram style. This is something I'm gonna be charging up very soon. I can't remember on the information I use to charge amulets. What I do with a ring of power, or actually, when I want to charge a ring, I tend to always carve stuff on everything, such as transformation sigils and pentagrams and protection sigil symbol, and then a transformation symbol, and then a few other symbols I'm not even going to mention. But just in case I need to, left hand being receptive, right hand being projective, meaning if you, I don't have a wand with me, but let's say this isn't an anathema because it's only sharp on the one side, but let's pretend it's an anathema, and black handles are best. The spirits that you're trying to scare or keep away or banish, they don't like black handles for some reason, and I've tested this theory, and seriously, it works. Now, maybe not for you. If you don't even know that, then it might not matter, and I might have just fucked it up for you. But, once again, your belief is a little more powerful than people give it credit for. But, so this is my anathema, okay? When you want to banish stuff, right hand, this projects the shit out of it, okay? Whenever you get the tools, by the way, when you first start, 2 fucking fingers, and arguably I can use 2 fingers anytime. I'm just gonna make a joke, but I won't. But I can project the energy out of the 2 fingers, and you can feel that. You start using an athame, and if you can't feel the energy coming out of it, well, maybe go back to 2 fingers. Maybe try putting your 2 fingers on the blade. That's how I did it at first, especially with this one with the rubber on the handle. Rubber stops electricity, right? If it's an electrical storm, you'd be safe with rubber. Electricity, electricians, they have special things to have rubber on the handles. So it gives you a whole new reason for the rubber soles on all the shoes and sandals you have and whatever. But anyways, so the left hand, this is where your circle comes out of, all right? That was one of the fucking things I hated when I first started magic. When I started doing shit, was all this magic circle shit, practicing magic circles, making a magic circle, all that shit like that. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. I didn't know how it worked. I was so confused. So I literally took a book. I think it was a King Solomon book. One with all the symbols in it. Like a Vedic book. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, there was a circle. It was a protective symbol. I learned it by heart anyways. I can draw it anywhere and I know it's a protective symbol. Even though the pentagram will be able to protect you just by itself, for most things anyways when you're first starting. But, so, hence the pentagram on here. Hence the tree, because for the earth element, for this realm, to keep me grounded. I got the thing pointing up the spirit, right? Not pointing down to me, trying to get money. But they're both needed. And then I got this to keep me grounded in this realm. So I'm spirit, but I'm grounded in the realm. And this is to remember who isn't the enemy and what I'm trying to be. And I get fucked upstairs when I wear this shit, and I turn their energy into whatever I need, and I think it's cool. This is all black. Is it tourmaline? It's one that absorbs energy. Maybe not as good as a quartz, but there's a black stone out there that I use for my Saturn shit, and it absorbs energy. I always have one in my pocket on Saturday, and anytime I'm going somewhere where I think I need to protect my energy. All these stones are that, as are these stones in my little Buddhist dragon bracelet. Not the gold ones. The gold ones, I forget what they are, but something I never heard of before. And I'm pretty sure it's painted, but I still love it. I think they might actually be the same. No, there's something else. But anyways, that's my wedding ring, and then there's the new, this is going to be consecrated. So, why do we consecrate stuff? How do we consecrate stuff? Oh, sorry, I was going with the alphabet. Anyways, I'll get back to that, but at the beginning I was trying to figure out what the fuck is a circle. Like Frater kept saying, some people won't even make a fucking circle when they do magic, and that's dangerous. So I was like, well, I'm not making a circle. What the hell? I was in my garage, and I'll be completely honest. So I'll tell you my newbie bullshit shit, but I was in my garage, and I would do breathing exercises, and then I would start with the Kabbalistic cross, just standing there looking at east, and then I go to the middle pillar, and then I would take one of the many sigils I made. I'd be staring at it, trying to get into trance, trying to meditate, standing up, which was stupid, but because every time I tried to meditate, I would fall asleep, or I'd get bored and go do something else. And then after the middle pillar, I would thank whatever day of the week God it was, and then I would let the candle burn out and I'd walk the fuck out. So I was like, what the hell? So then the more and more I heard about circles and demons and all these other things, and this is, I was so scared of spirits. And this is what happens when you try to do magic on your own. You have to do a lot of wrong things to get the right things. And depending on how wrong you do it, you could suffer maybe a little bit of consequences. And I think, I think in some ways I did. I don't think I was ever attacked by any demons or anything like that, but I started doing, I learned how, before I did my circle right, okay? Before I did my circle right, and thank God I found that one book. So I didn't want to paint something on the ground in my garage. This was my first temple. I didn't want to paint something in the ground in my garage because of my wife and whatever. At this time, I wasn't really telling her what I was into. I told her that was my secret area, that I wanted to go to meditate, that I wanted to be alone, clear my mind. It's too hard to meditate in the house with the kids, baby, and all that. She got that. So I was going to paint some symbol that could be misconstrued as demonic, devil, whatever, I was trying to avoid all that, and I didn't want people to know I was doing magic per se. So I go ahead and I do that. Oh shit. So, anyways, I started doing the lesser banishing, and the lesser banishing lights up the astral plane. All right, now it protects you from lower level entities that could do you harm, but it nonetheless lights up the astral fucking plane. So I heard all that, and then I still wasn't sure on how to do a circle yet at this point, so I was like, okay, I gotta do something. So I was looking around for protection symbols, circles, anything like that, right? Last thing I was thinking about was the pentagram, but that would have worked just fine to draw a pentagram on the ground. But I had a piece of plywood that I can remove, okay? I had that piece of plywood. On that piece of plywood, a marker, chalk, and a knife carved into that piece of wood, this protection symbol. And when I was ready to go into my temple, when I was ready to open up temple, and do my practice, and then I started doing the lesser banishing, I would take that piece of wood and I'd put it down on the ground and I'd stand in that circle. Because I was hearing a bunch of weird crap like, if you're going to get out of your circle while you're doing your practice, make sure you make a door. And this is all visualization, but I wasn't where I am, anywhere near I am today. So I was just like, what the fuck, man? How do you make a door? What are they talking about? I had no idea. No fucking idea. And then I think it was a mailbag and or a company with Birch's information, and I was thinking about ritual tools for Frederick Xavier was talking about, and he said, if you can't feel it coming out of your fingers, well then you're not ready for an athame. And then when you use the athame, you got to feel it coming out of the athame, and if it's not coming out of the athame, if you're not feeling the energy coming out of you, if you're not visualizing it and it's not bright, then you need to go back to your fingers and or find a different athame. And this is why you make your own athames. This works better, and that's why, I don't know if anyone ever seen it, but I made a video showing my first athame I ever made. Piece of fucking tin. Yeah, piece of tin. Jupiter's metal, mostly Jupiter's metal. And I just fucking took a pair of tin snips, and they're like fucking things that you would cut tree branches with and shit like that. And you'd say, well, how can tin snips fucking metal, tree cutters cut metal? Well, a tree that's still alive that has water and sap running through it is very hard to cut. Way harder to cut than metal. Metal's not hard to get through. But anyways, so yeah, I just two sides that are sharp is the criteria. So if you have an athame, it's only got one side that's sharp. It's not technically an athame, but you can still use it because it all matters in your head. Okay, but you want it to be double-sided. Polarity. There is no polarity, but there is polarity, you know? Those two sides of it make it a whole, whereas this is blade on the left, blade on the right. You know what I mean? It's biased. Let's say, and a thame is not biased. Let me swing it this way, it's going to cut, and up and down it can't cut. So anyways, that goes in your right hand, being that your right hand is projective. So if you're having trouble feeling the energy coming out of you, let's say you're starting to earth braid, well, no, you wouldn't see, that's the thing, and Brader said this in his newest video, and I love that he said it. You wouldn't technically use tools until you get to the grade where you make the tools. And the Kabbalah works and great work of self-transformation. The curriculum states in there, after every grade, you make the corresponding tool. So after the neophyte, you make a sensor. Right, I'm pretty sure, anyways. I think that's what it was. I don't know. It's something I forget what to make. Yeah, you make after the earth grade, you make a pentagram. You know, you have this actual pentagram, and then I think you make your altar in the north, which you start with the altar in the east, and this is why you make the sensor. East is air. It's not the air grade. I'm pretty sure I haven't got to see or Chris the air grade. Well, you finished, but I'm pretty sure you make the air dagger in there, not the one. But you may, and they may have the one under fire, because some have it that way. I don't use it that way. If we're using the thame in our right hand, then to me it makes sense for that. But you can have both. You can have a fire. You can have a fire one. You can have an air dagger. You can have an air one. You can have a fire dagger. It don't matter. It's up to you. But if you follow the curriculum, and then switch your shit after. But anyways, so you make a pentagram, and then you make an altar in the north. Now, most places, if you look, when you start magic, you're either going to have your altar in the north, or you're going to have your altar in the east. Now, some shamanistic traditions, southeast, or southwest, possibly. I don't know. That's where the unconscious probably is. And if you look at your astrology chart, circle one, that kind of makes sense, because east is over here, that's your ascendant line, that's your conscious mind. The left side of the brain is your conscious, even though we associate that with the right. It's because the right controls the left side of your body, and the left controls the right side of your body. But these things are reversed. So what's your left eye here from someone looking at you is your right eye. So this left side of my brain is actually the right side of my brain by someone looking at me like that. But anyways, so projective and receptive. So this, on my receiving hand, if I use it as a a protection ward, okay, then I can technically program this ring to be like the 6th-ray star that I call upon during the middle pillar, during the lesser banishing of ritual of the pentagram, okay? And you go around, if you don't know the lesser banishing, you go in the east quarter, you say a god name that I won't say, and you draw a pentagram, depending on what you're trying to invoke and evoke. Now, there's a great practice to do when you're doing this, and you do it twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. And in the morning, you call into your being by bringing the light down. Well, that's during the middle pillar, but during this, you do start off with an invoking one, meaning you go clockwise to invoke, and you go winter shins, counterclockwise to banish, okay? So invoke and banish. So you go around the circle clockwise, and let's say if you're trying to bring in your passion, your will, your desire to do something you don't want to do, well then the fire element is the one you're going to want to invoke. And let's say it's thoughts, creative thoughts, to make a podcast, to draw a picture for some work assignment that you're drawing a blank on for a book. Well, then you want to bring in the air element, the east, and not spirit, not the top of the pentagram, not spirit, but east, south, west, north. No. Basically, east and west are opposite each other. That's water and air, and then north and south are opposite each other. So for your north and south, if north is earth, it would be the left side of the pentagram, and then over here would be your fire. So the peak is spirit, And then the next one over on this side would be your earth. And down here would be your fire. And then it would be your air. And then it would be your water. So this way it goes air, fire, water, earth, spirit. So like on my pentagram. Anyways, so on your ascending line is the east, that's your conscious mind. And on your descending line, that's the west. That's your unconscious, your subconscious mind. You're linked to the divine. So not unconscious, but subconscious mind, which links up to the divine. So being that the west, looking at the west is for your subconscious, well, what is west? Well, west is water. And east is air, right? So air and water, subconscious and unconscious. That's a good thing if I can remember. So what I want to say about, I guess what I'm going to get into, what I'm trying to say here is simply that being that east air and water, west woman, and east is, well, it's male, it's man, it's the male version, it's the male polarity versus the woman polarity, right? But and I don't think it's necessarily gender, but that's polarity. But it's both your minds, right? Your man mind, your female mind, okay? So the water is your emotions, right? So why is that the link to the unconscious? Why is that important? Well, the unconscious realm, I said it a few videos ago, maybe the last video, I don't know what I made, but I said thought forms. You gotta start thinking of everything from your personality, your personification, your name, to the fiction books, to the entities and egregores and shit that we create. All those things are thought forms, and they are in the unconscious. Okay, the unconscious is just full of fucking thought forms, and these thought forms are just everywhere, just chilling, having a big party, waiting to either be retired or whatever, but this is where they hang out. It's a real realm that we can't see, and we can affect that realm. And I think some people can see. The people that see spirits, ghosts, entities, reptilians, aliens, you know, all this shit, they were born with the gift to be able to see thought forms. Whether it's the ones they create or other people create, they can see those things. That's why if someone is walking around with a bunch of thought forms around it, okay, they created a thought form of their dead mother. And the dead mother is exactly how they remember their mother from their point of view. Meaning that entity will know everything that the dead mother would know. Therefore, if someone sees that, they could be a psychic medium, and they could tell you stuff about your dead grandmother, then you'd be like, what the fuck? How could they know that? Well, your thought form you created that's hanging out beside you is right there, and it's telling her that information, showing her, it's doing whatever, you know what I mean? That's why people can hear things that aren't there, because they can hear the thought forms around them that they've created or other people have created, and these things can give you information. Just like these demons and these angels can give you information and help you out. So it's an important thing to remember. But more and more, I suspect, of certain people that are claiming to be gurus that aren't. And I won't mention any names because I don't like saying statements like this or talking about shit like that. But when people keep telling you to make polarity choices, like it either is or it isn't, simple as that. Because if you don't believe it, well then you are trapped. And it's like, no, it's not. It doesn't matter. You can. Now, it depends on how you are and what you're doing. But if you are taking a stance of the Bible is symbolic, it's highly symbolic. Well, the most depolarized person I know would be, and I don't know him personally, but Frederick Xavier. You know, he's killing the game. He's great at magic. He's telling me all I've known. He's helped probably fucking upwards of 500,000 people would be my guess. And I might even think it's more than that. But, you know, he says the Bible's highly symbolic, okay? And I'm not saying his word is bond, but what I'm saying is I believe that. Lots of other people believe that. So for someone who says, no, the Bible was always there to fucking hurt you, sure, it is. It might be. It might be there to trap you, enslave you, to make you do bad things, make you believe in a God that's not going to serve you, believing in all these thought forms that aren't going to give you anything, put you in cross conditions and keep you on the fucking cross and not being able to move with your fucking hands pinned there? Probably. But if you take that Bible and you fucking bend it to do your will and use those messages in there to help yourself out, well, then there's nothing fucking wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and that's exactly what you should be doing with any documentation, any book, anywhere, anytime, everywhere. So people like that, I tend to think they're either polarized against certain things, meaning person was in love with Christianity and all of a sudden they were hoping Christianity was going to bend to their will, and okay, these things aren't good, but since God loves me, he'll still hook me up and accept me for it. And then when they talk to the priest about it, the priest told them, no, you can't do that, you're fucking bad if you do that. Well, then they got mad at Christianity and threw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, this whole fucking book is bullshit. And that's fine. You can do that. You don't need that book. There's plenty of other books you can call on. But don't go around telling people to fucking listen to you and either pick the Bible to follow or not pick the Bible to follow, and tell people, I respect people more if they either believe in Christianity or they don't use the Bible at all, instead of these people that are halfway in the middle. It's like, no. If you aren't somebody working for against spirituality, okay? Let's say you actually legitimately are helping spirituality out and you just polarize against it. Well, inadvertently, to me, what the person like this is saying is, don't be depolarized. You need to be either polarized for or against the Bible. Don't be in the fucking middle. Just like, did we go to the moon? Did we not go to the moon? There's too many variables. I don't know what happened. No, pick. We went to the moon or I didn't go to the moon. They are trying to get you to believe one or the other. And the reason they want you to do this, and I'm not saying that's what anybody that I'm actively investigating to see if they're a fucking real or a fraud, but I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but it seems likely and plausible that could be part of the plot, as they can get you to pick a side. It doesn't matter which side you pick, but if you start picking sides, then these sides are both controlled against you. Like I said, when it comes to the moon landing, it doesn't matter if you went there or not. What should be focused on is the atrocities that happened behind the scenes while the whole fucking space race was going on. The fucking 2 concentration camps no one's taught about, that happened in the Gulag Archipelago, and I don't know the name of the one that happened under Mao's China, because no one written a book about it, I don't think anyways, but I forget who was the one who was responsible for uncovering those atrocities, but Solzhenitsyn, I think it is, who did the Gulag Archipelago. It's just insane. So getting people to focus on one or the other instead of the middle, well, that's what that accomplishes. It gets you to believe, if you believe that this happened, there's no way you can believe that other thing happened. And there's no way that you can believe the government or whoever is hiding a story from you. So that's why they want you to believe a story. Well, one of many reasons they want you to pick a side. So I don't like that when I see shit like that. So, but anyways, and then if these same people are telling you you don't want to go into your unconscious, you don't want to release any of these thought forms into the unconscious, because whenever you do that, if you do that yourself and you don't know what you're fucking doing, well, then you're going to release your childhood trauma into your mind. And I'm sure that's kind of true on a level. I believe it is. But in the same sense, you kind of have to. So that woman who's at this psychic medium getting a reading done, and her mother's beside her, okay, that thought form she created, well, she is holding something. She's not letting go. She can't let go of the fact that she didn't get to say goodbye, that maybe they got into a fight before her mother died, that, she feels bad that she never seen her enough, whatever the case is. So she's got this thought form following around because that thing is always on her mind, and she's constantly putting the sad and miss you emotion into it. So she just keeps it going. And so that thing goes to the person who can see thought forms or hear thought forms. It could be one or the other, or it could be both as well, and tells them that, she's really holding on to the fact that she's beating herself up every day. She's holding on to this charge, and it's fucking up her whole life. Her husband's ready to leave her and cheat on her because he's not getting laid. Her kids don't see her, and when they are beside her, she's not even there. And everybody's suffering, and the way she feels about her mom, she's going to do the same thing to her kids. So it's fucking up her life. So you got to get rid of me somehow. You got to get her to let it go and say it's okay. So then she tells the girl this in the way that she interprets it. And the thing is, it's going to be pretty accurate, right? Because that girl created that thought form of her mother. So So it's all her memories. I mean, it's connected to the unconscious, so it has all the actual attributes. But the most potent ones that'll come to the surface more are all the ones that she created in it, because it's her thought form of her mother. It's her version of her mother. It's everything she remembers about her mother. It's all the memories that come to the surface more often, more than the other ones, you know what I mean? So it's definitely sorry about that. It's all the shit that she's going to be thinking about, you know, the ones that come, all the unconscious memories, and even stuff that she can't remember. She's like, how the fuck she know that? I wasn't even thinking about that. Well, that's crazy. That's freaky. But she'll get this person to release this and let this go. She's like, you gotta let her go. You gotta let her go, pass on with the other realms. You gotta let her go. And she's not gonna tell you the truth, because then the gig's up, right? It's a thought form you created. It's not really your dead mom. First of all, who's gonna believe that? And second of all, then she's got no more work, because she's openly saying, hey, there's no such thing as spirits. I'm a psychic medium that sees these things, but these things aren't really there. They're created things by you. So the gig's up. She's not gonna say that, but she gets her to let it go. She gets that. She basically retires, gets that person to say the right command, the right code to retire or kill that entity that she created. That's all that's happening there. And so, is that a dangerous process? No. But you're going to break down, you're going to cry. It creates emotional blocks, it creates emotional bullshit. And it's gonna hurt. You're going to feel like you're losing your mom all over again, because you had this entity with you that you created, or you're carrying around with you, so you feel her presence with you almost all the time. You know, people think they're being watched, people think this and that, and it's like, no, you got a bunch of fucking entities you created around you. Some are holding you back, and sometimes when you're in a good mood, some of them are actually helping you do things. But, you know, you got all these things around you, you gotta let them go. So this girl will get them to let it go. So when this person is telling you to pick a Bible story, pick a fucking conspiracy side and not just be in the middle. And if you're trying to release, again, connect your subconscious to your conscious mind, you don't want to do that, because you're going to bring all this is where the demons are, the entities are, the monsters, the ghosts, the paranormal, all this shit. It's all there. Well, if someone's saying that, it's no different than the guy who was telling you, when you make a sigil, it releases demons into your mind and it starts your possession. It's like, no, that's horse shit. That's fucking horse shit. These are things you do gotta let go. Because I've went over this many times, that your limbic system is your emotional brain. Okay? And the emotional brain, what happens is where emotions live. Okay? These forces that we've created, these forces that, holy fuck, man, girls, these forces that we didn't create these forces, but we personified them. Venus being love, Mars being passion, Jupiter being restriction, and, you know, organization and tradition, and the sun being the yes to Jupiter's no, and being the star of the show and the brightest one in the sky, and the moon being the second brightest, the one that's not noticed as much. You know, most people don't, they like talk about the moon all that much at night. I do, but most people don't. Whereas the sun, there's probably not a person in the day that doesn't talk about the sun. But at nighttime, people don't talk about weather all that much. So it's second, you know, it's the unconscious. It's what comes out at night. It's associated with dark things, whereas the sun is associated with light. Mercury, you know, Mercury is sometimes the deceiver, he's sometimes the devil, he's the trickster, but he's also sometimes the healer, the smart guy, the Hermes, Thoth. But it can be demonized, it can be an archangel, you know, he's all over the place, all over the fucking map. He's probably the magician, the one you need to fucking connect to mostly. Alright, so where was that? So when someone's telling you that you're going to release these unconscious entities into your mind, and it's going to possess you and you're going to become possessed by them, well, I don't think so. That's not true. What happens is you're actively working on how to control these things rather than be controlled by these things. Okay? And that's the whole point of depolarization. That's the whole point of being in the fucking middle. Because when you're in the middle, these things can't possess you as much. Okay? Now, they say the greater ritual of the pentagram, or of the hexagram, is a way to reduce Saturn's effect on you. And I believe that's true. But another way to reduce the star's effect on you is the 6 to 10 to 12 months that you spend in the neophyte grade working on depolarization, balancing yourself, grounding yourself. These things will make you less reactive. Because what happens is when you become enraged and anger and you're passionate about something you fucking hate, well, what happens is you're calling into that Mars energy, and your body is starting to get into the same frequency. And once you reach that certain frequency, whatever one that Mars controls when it's unbalanced and it's in the rage, as soon as you hit that level, boom, then you're no longer in control. I mean, you kind of are, because you know what you're about to hit, you know what you're about to yell, but the thoughts of what you're about to do just keep coming to you super fucking fast, and you just keep acting on them, you know? So nothing else can communicate with you. So the point of depolarization and getting this under control is so that this shit doesn't happen. Being in the middle, you know, because if you pick the Bible, if you're either for or against the Bible, you decide, oh, you know what, I'm not going to use the Bible, I'm going to believe it's all bad. Well, now you're able to be polarized. I'm able to polarize. When I start saying that the Bible is highly symbolic, the Bible can be used for good, it's not all bad, you're going to get pissed off at me. You're going to think I'm a fraud. You're going to think because you picked a side, and that side is right to you. And so anybody on the opposite side, you're against. And that's why you don't pick polarity. And that's why you shouldn't believe people that say that. So I'm not going to go as far as say these people are bullshitting you, or they're working for the other side, or he really is a Christian, and that's just a fucking bullshit story about a shaman. But you know, it's just, it is what it is. He could be just polarized against that. You could be completely depolarized in all aspects of your life, except for one or two things, and you have childhood trauma. So, you know, if your dad worked for NASA and you saw people go on the space station, you know, anybody who says that NASA is evil and bullshit and they never went to the moon, that's going to affect you because you picked a side. You are for NASA because your dad worked there and you thought your dad was the greatest guy in the world. He was your hero. Who wouldn't, right? If someone said what my dad did was all bullshit and a waste of time and wrong and evil, I'd do the same fucking thing. Same thing for the church. You know, if you spend all your life learning about the church and people start saying it's fucking evil, well, you're gonna think they're fucking evil. You're polarized against it. This is how polarity works. Alright, what the fuck's going on, everybody? So, where I exactly left off, I don't know. I didn't even listen to it yet. I know I was talking about invoking, banishing. I was talking about people seeing thought forms. Everybody, the thought form realm is filled with everything and anything, from fiction books to whatever. The things we put beside us, the things we talk about. So, before I keep going, I know I talked about invocating, and I didn't get to the banishing part of the pentagram. I also didn't talk about, or keep elaborating on a few things. But anyways, first thing I want to say is, if you are studying and looking into magic and you haven't gone into it yet, you know, keep doing your research. But you don't have to take my word for it. You don't. But the neophyte in the book, I posted the book Kabbalah Great Work of Self-Transformation on Facebook. Then Facebook had a problem when we put a link on there. They're putting my page, they're doing ads on my page, but anytime you have ads that take you off Facebook, they don't like that, so they deactivated the ads. Then they charged my account $15 with deactivated ads. I thought that was a little fucked up, but whatever. I thought it was like all hypothetical, you know? Technically right now you spend $1.37, and then on the day after the 5 days the ads are supposed to be posted, they told me I was deactivated, so I assumed, okay, well, I don't need to disconnect my PayPal or anything like that. I wanted to see how many people I could reach, and it would tell me, you know. Anyways, it's my stupidity, but still, if 2 out of the 3 ads didn't even go to anybody, and they didn't even, you know, be advertised to anybody, then I shouldn't have been charged for those 2, maybe just the 1. But anyway, the point is, if you're still thinking about getting into magic, if you go on my Facebook, on my page, whether my page or you try to add me as a friend and I accept you, send me a message, or on anything else, and I'll send you the book. But the PDF is on my podcast. It's on various YouTube channels. I think Magic on a Budget, it's on there because it makes sense, right? you're doing magic on a budget, you're going to want a free curriculum to work out of. So I gave it the link to that as well in there. But the neophyte, you're just calling things to you. You're doing the invocation of the angels after the lesser banishing of the pentagram, and none of that does anything. Yes, the lesser banishing of the pentagram lights up the astral field. So if there is a bunch of energy in the astral field, to me, in other words, is basically somewhere between, the 95% of dark energy, dark matter we can't see, and the unconscious. And I'm not convinced that they're both not the same. So people going into space is basically like going into the mind of God. This realm that we're on, is also part of the mind of God, but it's going deeper into like the unconscious. Anything is possible. And if anybody out there has ever watched the show Lost when it was on TV, I forget how many seasons it had, but I love that fucking show. Well, if people watched that show and said they understood the ending, but they're not into spirituality or understanding how the subconscious creates reality, and they bought whatever bullshit people said that it was really about, they're lying to you. It's not about that. It's about creating reality. It's about how everything was just in the... Anyways, I'm not going to get into it, but I think in some ways that triggered the beginning stages of the doubt, putting seeds into my mind to come down this path. Because I've watched that show a few times since it's been well over like 10 years since it's been on. It's got to be like 15 years probably now. But anyways, good show. But get into magic as soon as you can, because the Bible, okay? And I get people when they say that the Bible is there to hold you back. The Bible is there to bring you down. The Bible is not your friend. I understand why they're saying that, because it's not inaccurate. It is written in such a way that the thought forms that you're believing in are not the thought forms that can actually be beneficial to you to manifest anything like money, wealth, and all that. People can pray to God if they believe that God will give them money. But then if those people turn around and read the Bible, they're going to get a sense that God does not want you to be rich. Therefore, and if they tell a priest, hey, I prayed for $1 million and it gave it to me. Well, depending on how the priest is and reacts to that. And nowadays, it's not so bad anymore, because the priest would likely, yeah, that's great. Yeah, God gives, maybe you should give some to the church. And that's what he would probably do. But back in the day, he'd be more likely to tell you that it just came from Satan, who you're praying to, because God wouldn't give you money, because the poor go to heaven and the rich go to hell. And that's just some bullshit, backwards fucking thinking. But when you're doing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, we call them those archangels to you. Those archangels that are around you there. Call them Abrahamic religions, call them whatever. You don't want to, if you don't want to use them because you don't believe in Abrahamic religion, that's fine. But to me, that's not their purpose. Their purpose is just to stand by your quarters. And if you need something to take down, if something bad starts happening, that's what they're there for. But in the neophyte, you're not even doing that. You're not calling anything into there. All you're doing is using your own visualization in a trance-like state. Basically, you're visualizing yourself being in space, or your mind is more accurate, and you are able to go into your mind and talk to your subconscious directly, which all it breaks down to is symbolism. So when you're doing your ritual and you ask for something as if it's already happened, you are telling the subconscious, like the TV telling the subconscious something, like the news telling you that COVID's bad, COVID's bad, COVID's going to kill you. Well, people scared, masked up, you know what I mean? They're more likely to get that shit because they're watching the shit that's putting that into their mind. Well, you're going into your own mind. And what you're doing is you're making it pure. You're banishing anything out of there. So that's what I was going to get with the whole invoking and banishing. So one way to do it, there's many ways to do it, and there's only a few of them that'll serve you. And I think you can alter this, and I think you can do whatever you want with this, but there's a banishing and there's an invoking. So in the morning, if you were to do one, you're invoking energy for the day. You're calling down that light, prana, to heal, to get your body up and running, to protect, to, fill your, whatever you want to think, it's your Danantion, full of prana, full of chi, full of ki. And then, then you can circle that ki around you after. That's kind of my process. Microcosmic orbit brings it down. I call it into me, into my being, and then I get my ki bucket flowing around me, protective egg, if you will, whatever color I want, depending on the day of the week, so on and so forth. But you do that first thing in the morning. And, you know, if you, like I said earlier, if you want thoughts, well, then you use the fucking air, you know, and you would start at the opposite one of air. So you'd start at water, go to air, and you can come back down to water, or go over to fucking earth if you want, and then down to fire, spirit, back down to fire, back down to water, back to air. You end on there. And then if you're invoking the thoughts, you do clockwise. Likewise, at the end of the day, before going to bed, so you don't have a bunch of thoughts going crazy in your head. Maybe you had a stressful day. Maybe you're worried about something. Well, you want to banish that worry, that anxiety. You want to rid yourself of that so you can go to sleep. The subconscious can work on it. So I banish that thought and I accept that it's all going to go well. And then, you know, you do the banishing way, water to air, and then that back down the water, and then maybe up to spirit, down to the side to earth, you know, and then back over to air if you want, but generally you would land on earth, and then you would start your circle the counterclockwise way. So earth, water, fire, air. Because whenever you go, when you bring something into being, you're using your thought plus action with emotion, and it brings it into earth, this realm. So if you want to decompose something, if you have thoughts, if you're having a shitty situation in your life, you're trying to get rid of your poverty. Poverty is basically you thinking, affirming, saying emotionally, and putting action towards you being without money. You want to get rid of that, well, you need to do the opposite way. So it's already here on earth, and you want to rid yourself of that. So you go water, get rid of that emotion, get yourself happy that I don't have this anymore. And you put action towards that. You do overtime, you look for a job, you stop spending money stupidly, whatever the case is. And you go back up to the thoughts, and you're having thoughts now of getting money, and then, you know, it's gone back down to earth. You don't even have to go, but make sure you're always finishing your circles, however you want to do that. And then, so you do that. Now, do you go around the circle the opposite way? Yeah, you do. You start off with earth, and then water, fire, air. That's how I do it. I break it down that way. And, you know, and this will relax you before bed. It clears your space. You know, your temple is an extension of you. And if you only have an altar somewhere around the house, or you break down the altar after you use it, someone sees it, oh, that's fine. But that's still an extension of you. All those tools is an extension of your arm, but it's an extension of you. It's you talking to the subconscious mind. You are now the show. See, when you're walking around, you're in your conscious mind. You know, Corey LeBlanc's walking around doing his thing, talking to people. Okay, that's the conscious mind. People are meeting me, the conscious mind version of me. But whenever you're at your altar, you get in that altered state, hint, hint, and it's because you are now in front of your link to the divine. It's only you. You can have a big robe if you want, or you can go naked. Like I said before, I do the naked way if I can, and if I can't, then topless, no socks, whatever. I'll improvise, but I don't wear robes. I do the witchcraft way, and I go fucking nude if I can. Doing the ones in your head are also good because, you know, you can do anything in your head. I mean, you should still be visualizing and imagining while you're in front of your altar anyways. So it's not that much of a stretch to put yourself in front of your altar wherever you are, versus when you are in front of your altar, putting yourself up into space doing that. Now, one of the things that always fucked me up was the fact that the last one, Malkuth, has to be your feet in the ground. You're seeing the circle above and below your feet into the ground, and that's helped ground you. So if the whole world is at your feet and you're in the cosmos and you're so big that the sun and Jupiter in comparison are just tiny, right? And that's how they should be, because they're above there controlling you during the realm. While you're conscious, you're walking around doing things. But when you are doing your ritual, you are calling to them and telling them what you want to happen. Now, I'm not saying you control the planets. I'm saying when you're that fucking big in the universe and you keep visualizing those planets smaller than you, you can line them up like this. You can pretend like they're orbiting around you, but then, you know, Saturn being at the bottom, and then Mars or the moon, and then it'd be the solar, so then the sun, if you want, wherever you put them on your chakra diagram, your body, you picture them orbiting you around that area if you want. That's something I do from time to time, not always. Sometimes I just line them up, you know, this being feet, head, it doesn't really matter. That's up to you. But whatever serves you best. You have wiggle room with what you're visualizing, as long as you visualize things that are going to help you out. And these things will help you out. So, but invoking and banishing is part of the lesser banishing. So if you're doing 2 rituals during the day, well, if you're having bad thoughts about something, you can banish away, but it's good to do that at night. Cleanse yourself almost. You're cleansing yourself of that energy. Now, a meditation like the one with the magnets I explained a long time ago, you're laying down, outside, inside, doesn't matter. Outside's probably easier, and you see this like big earth magnet come. Maybe it's kind of invisible, but a little translucent, and it takes all this gray, dark, maybe even lead, if you want, all these little shavings, filings, lead, whatever, pencil lead shit, you know what I mean, coming off of you, all this shit that you took from other people all day long. Magnet comes underneath you and it sucks it all there. Then another magnet comes above you. If you're laying down, foot to head is horizontal, then another magnet comes down to you after that. So the first magnet goes back into the ground, the second magnet goes back into the ground, then one on this side of you, one on this side of you, and one on both ends. This way it gets all aspects of your whole body, takes all that shit off. It goes into the ground, and Gaia, Mother Earth, matriarchy, matrix, whatever you want to call it, she transforms that into something positive again. Because negativity is useful. It may not be useful to you right now, but it goes down into the earth, and she can turn that into whatever she wants. She's going to neutralize it, put it back into existence, and it can go. You know what I mean? So these negative things that latch on you, entities, energy, people, attacks, curses, whatever it is, it's in your aura. Cleanse that shit. So your aura is not all full of this crap that goes down into the earth and renews it. And then you can picture the bright light coming down from source, lighting you up, fluffing up your aura, making your aura fucking hard like a fucking egg. You punch it and you stop it. Holy fuck, I can't even get through my own aura. It's so strong. Whatever you want to do. I also do one, like I said before, from the book Sorcerer's Secrets and or Jason Miller, Protection, whatever. He draws light down and he draws light from the ground as well. They meet halfway, grabs it halfway, pushes on his chest with a bunch of old Latin words as well. Behind here, O at your bottom part there where your ground chakra would be, and then pull that energy. It's red coming from the ground, it's white coming from above. And you're using both those energies to make this protective aura around you. That one works fucking sick. But you can do that in between your lesser banishings and all that if you're feeling intense, or just just visualize something around you. I don't know why I'm talking about protection stuff. I'm guessing it's going to be helpful, but that's the way you do the invoking and evoking shits. Now, I can keep going on to the whole fraud and people bullshitting you about the whole whatever, but I really want you to get in your head that if you start magic now, you're going to stop creating karma. That's why the 6 months to a year is important, because you stop making karma. It's as you're working on depolarization, even before you get into the first grade, which takes care of your finance, and takes care of your finance and your health, which is the first earth grade, because you get into way cooler shit after that. And if you think, well, and people get into magic for their health, finance, or to get laid, well, you're taking care of 2 of those things right off the hop. But the neophyte, you're depolarizing yourself, so things will rub you the wrong way, so you're not positive or negative, so people don't push or pull you, and no one can move you. And when no one can move you, then you're not going to create karma, meaning you're not going to curse yourself. You're not going to be in a shitty mood because you're cursed and curse somebody else. Everything is electricity. Everything's a charge. The words we say is bond. It's God. It's whatever you want to call it. Logo. The word logo is describing a word that means way more than a word, right? The M for McDonald's, we know it means McDonald's, and we know it means Big Macs, we know it means heart attacks, and we know whatever. But a logo means way more than just what a word means. Every word is basically like that. You can use words to your benefit or detriment. Your mind, you can use the same way, benefit or detriment. And you want to start using it the right way. And that's what this teaches you. You stop obeying thought forms that tell you to be poor your whole life and not try this stuff. And then you start doing what you're supposed to be doing. And then whether you have thought forms and entities around you stopping you, holding you back, whether it's just simply you doing it. It doesn't matter how you want to look at it. You can look at it in so many ways, but pick a way that is helpful to you. And that's what the different systems are teaching, the different ways to look at what this is that we're doing. But it doesn't change the fact that the subconscious mind is your link to the divine, and the unconscious, I like to think of it as the state you're in when the magic happens, right? You stop thinking about your magic, so you're not holding on to it in your conscious mind, but you're doing some other repetitive thing that's habitual that you learned throughout your whole life to do, and all of a sudden it can come to you because you're in a receptive mood. But the unconscious, the universal unconscious rather, would be, so maybe there is a universal consciousness, because that could be our collective consciousness. It's all linked up together, but I still think it's more like unconscious. But the universal consciousness is probably a way of saying our subconscious are just all linked, and that's how we can affect other people at any time. But then the universal unconscious is where all those other deities, thought forms, fairy tale, fake shit, real shit, whatever, dead ancestors, dead people, something you're holding on to, whatever it is, it's there. You can call on it, you can use it, or it can be, you can be used by it, and you might not want that. So anyways, the conscious and the subconscious mind, both our minds. The conscious is the newest mind. Everybody has subconscious mind, and even the cells in your body are part of that. Your conscious mind is a very small piece of the puzzle, but your entire body has another consciousness that you can talk to and ask to do things if you do it properly, but not necessarily can you actually control it. Now, I did something today. I burnt my hand when I was fucking around with my candles and shit, and I had some specific water that I was cleansing some of my stuff with. Some of these things I got on now. That's why I had to wait this long to re-record, because I had to salt and water these bitches up and whatever else I do before I consecrate them. And something was hot because I had the water and the fire and the incense, and then I grabbed the thing stupidly because the smoke alarm was probably going to go off if I let a big fire and my cauldron go any longer. And then, because I use fire, I use air, I use water, and I use earth to cleanse salt water. That's what that is, the incense and obviously the fire. So cleanse them all after being buried in salt and water for a while, and then consecrated them. But I burnt myself before I consecrated them. So I bring my little portable altar into the bathroom with me, and I'm doing my ritual naked in the shower, so it's not so weird. And my finger starts hurting again because I was using it, whatever. And so I tell Saturn I'm thankful for banishing the pain away and invoking the cells, the consciousness of the cells too. The ones that can heal, the ones that can't heal, die off and regenerate before they die off and create new ones. And, you know, I'm in space in my head, and, you know, I'm thinking about this, so I don't feel the pain anymore at this point. But I had a little cold cup of water because, you know, what burns, aloe vera works, yes, and different burning things, yeah. But if you can keep ice or really, really cold water on it, and I think you should gradually make the temperature hotter so it's an easier transition, because if you're always in really, really cold water, take it off, especially when it first happens, it's going to burn. But what I did was I kept it in there because it was starting to hurt. I didn't have to have my other hand do, you know, the sign of the enter anymore. And as I was doing that, I could feel bubbles, and, you know, the shower water was going straight down, not even near the hand, but where my index and my thumb, mostly my thumb, it felt like there was bubbles happening right there. And I'm like, this is weird, this is cool, whatever. It's kind of a weird tingly feeling. So anyways, I would just let it be. I did the whole thing, went out and did stuff, and it doesn't even bug me anymore. It was like spontaneous healing, and I had these little marks on there, but they're also gone as well. And I'm telling you, I'm the word of a lie. The flame was the size of my cauldron, so it was about this wide, this high, and there was a steel piece that I had the thing on top of, and that thing got fucking hot as hell. And, you know, this thing was really hurting. I asked my wife, was bitching about it for a while, and now it doesn't, and I don't even have the marks anymore. So the consciousness you affect within your body when you do healing magic, That's how you do it. You have to talk to those cells. Now, there's more things I did than just that, but in all honesty, that's as simple as it can be, and you can get results if you have the connection there. It can be just talking to it after you've done it for so long. For someone who's in the neophyte to just start talking to their cells, the cells are going to be like, whoa, bud, you know, how many years have you been fucking this over? And now it's like 2 months into the neophyte, you think you can just talk to us? No, we need some more devotion first. But, you know, eventually you'll get there, you know, and because this is not something I try all the time. And truth be told, I've tried this many times, and, you know, healing magic is one of the harder ones for me to do, because it's hit or miss. But yeah, I can actually feel it tingling me now that I'm talking about it. But it's like the cells are like, yeah, he's talking about us, we're on TV, yeah. But anyways, but that, and this is something I got from Frater Xavier, so it's not my idea, but that's what he says, how he witnessed healing magic, or spontaneous healing the one time. He had a cut and it got half healed, and when he freaked out, like, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening. That was enough to stop it from happening. Like, you asked for something, we give it to you, and now you're freaked out that we're giving it to you. Like, you didn't think we were going to follow through. So it stopped. And so he was left with half a gash. And, you know, that's, so anyways, in a later episode, he references that out again, and he says, when you charge our ambulance, our wards, our mojo bags, our objects, you know, when you consecrate stuff, it's the same thing. The metals, the stones, the pieces of wood, you know, the tree branches you have for your wand, the cup, the pentagram, the or pentacle, you know, all this stuff, the thame, it's all programmable. Electricity flows through metal, gold, silver, copper, those are, you know, your high conductors there. Then you got brass, hydrobrass, aluminum, a little lesser there, but still can conduct electricity. Well, why do you think that I said to put your fingers on the blade of the thame if you think it's not going through the handle? If your handle's rubber, after all, it's not going to. That stops electricity. So using something out of plastic or rubber, not such a good idea. They also say for your altar, your tools, depending on where you look, the nature spirits don't like things made out of metal. That's why, you know, especially if you have an athame, for some reason with that black candle, they really don't like that. So that's why that's the tool to banish, to project at something, because they don't like that, because you're able to affect that. See, nature spirits can affect us. Nature spirits are totally different than thought forms. Now, could they be thought forms? Potentially. But the reason I'm iffy on that is because, to me, a thought form is anything that doesn't have a nature spirit, is a spirit of the things that we see growing in nature. It's like the trees see us, but maybe they don't see our spirit. We see the trees, we know they're growing, we know they're breathing, we know they can die, but we can't see their spirits. Maybe some people can, but you know what I mean? So when we talk about nature spirits, they talk about fairies, and they talk about all these different things, especially with water spirits as well, air, fire spirits, all those things. That's like the elemental. Okay, the element is the actual thing, the water coming out of your tap. The salt is the earth element that's in your cupboard. The fire on my candle is the fire element. You know, the air I'm breathing that we can't see right now is probably the most, you know, weird one, and that's why it's linked to spirit, but it's not quite the same thing. But that's why it kind of is the same thing, because you can't actually see air, but we all know it's there. But once again, air is kind of alive. You know, maybe not as alive as that tree out there, because that tree uses air. It needs fire as well, and it also needs water. But that's another topic. But then the elemental is the spirit. You're calling in the spirits, and you don't leave those guys coming. You don't leave them around. You got to get rid of them, because the elemental can influence the element. And I think that's the same thing with us. So our spirit, us, our thought forms, the things we create that we don't even know we're creating, can influence us. We can create something we don't know is there that can influence us, that can screw up our life or can make it better. magicians, witches make thought forms to go out there and do something for them, whether it's bring back information to them, whether it's protect them in their home, whether it's to go out there and make awareness for their YouTube channel, whether it's to protect the YouTube channel from the swine, so on and so forth. And I think that's what it's like. We're the element, and then these thought forms are the elementals around us. Maybe they have to help people and they get to advance. And maybe if you're using an element, maybe you're using a thought form that's around you for so long, always influencing you over and over again. And whether it's a negative one or a positive one, maybe your next incarnation, that takes over the next time. That one gets a personification, who knows? But point is, it's time to start doing magic, because the more people that get involved in magic, I'm not going to stop anybody. I'm not going to stop putting the message out there, because people need to take control of their life. But if you want to do something, the less people's minds are actually guarding the gates of their mind, the more sheep there are out there following these religions, telling them not to use their mind. You know, when they keep creating these elementals that keep them down, well, it's their own fucking fault. There's a lot of information out there. If they don't want to take it on, if they don't want to learn about it, that's their own damn problem. But the sooner you start, the better you'll be. All this stuff takes time, but I'm telling you, one day it's just going to be like, I can't believe I ever wasn't doing this. And then one day it's just going to be like, oh my God, I can speak things into existence. For me, it's not like instantaneous, but it's within days. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I just say something and then it happens. And it's just because of the constant watching this stuff, the constant doing this stuff, the constant candles asking for different things. And it's all starting to happen because I have that faith, and it takes time and results. But it takes time to develop that faith over time, that everything's going to work out, everything's going to be okay. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I told my wife, well, how good it would be to get an extra $2,000 a month. And then this CERP thing fucking comes out, like, so it's crazy. But anyways, so when you consecrate your items, what you're doing is talking to the consciousness that this metal has, the consciousness that, this has, that your wards have. Okay, there's a consciousness in there. If you go back to science class, all atoms are vibrating, some at a higher, some at a lesser frequency, but they're all moving. Everything's moving all the time. My one buddy, we were talking, and I'm like, well, this is not how I think of it, but I think it kind of works like this in a certain sense. Our brain, if you were to take a computer that's running a program, or your Xbox that's running a video game right now, but you were to just look at the program running, you had like MS-DOS or whatever, some kind of, when you hook up your car to like a fucking computer and it tells you what's wrong with it. Well, something like that. You hooked it up to see what was going on and the patterns. Maybe there's a glitch happening. You're trying to figure out what the glitches are. So you're going to see a bunch of ones and zeros and, computer code happening continuously, right? Well, that's what the reality really looks like. It's just a bunch of that. This is like a matrix perspective. It just looks like that. But then our brain is the software, right? Or the hardware, maybe, if you want, that turns those ones and zeros into your environment around you. So if you want to alter the game, alter the code, you have to talk to the part of the brain that is doing all this. See, this one part here is just your character. It's just the character that you were allowed to make. You got a hand in the game, right? You start the game, you make your character. If it's a wrestling game, you make a wrestler. If it's a hockey game, you make a hockey player. If it's a shooting game, you create your shooter, you know what I mean? And you get to make them stronger with the more experience you get, right? Experience plus intelligence brings on wisdom. So you got a hand in the game, but that's your personification. You are molding your personification as you go. Well, that's that one half of your brain. That's all that is. But this half is taking care of all this and everything out here. But really, if you hook up a machine, it's just going to be ones and zeros. It's just going to be showing that matrix code. That thing that Neo sees at the end. He's like, I see it, I get it. And then he can just do whatever he wants, because he's able to affect the code while he's conscious. Okay, from both halves of the mind. That's what you do in ritual. Anyways, I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.